In tonight's broadcast, we'd like to discuss the 9/11 attacks that happened in New York City, Washington, D.C., and in Pennsylvania. Yes, I was in New York that day. I was not in Manhattan, I was in Queens. But my apartment had a beautiful view of downtown Manhattan and a very clear view of the World Trade Center. I watched that attack happen from the time the planes hit until the towers fell. I will never forget everything about that day. How clear the sky was, how warm it was, the shock, the absolute horror, and the uncertainty and the unknowing if your loved ones were still alive, if they had made it out. This was an attack that this country will never, and I think the world will never forget. This was the first time that we had seen actual extremism, religious extremism at that, on such a grand and huge scale. And I don't think anyone in the world understood or would know the absolute shocking levels that it would grow to that we are facing now, 14 years later. It's a sad point in our history as human beings that this is what we have now resorted to, and that in thousands upon millions of years of human history we cannot figure out how to stop killing each other over an idea. I do not want to stay on that topic though, because I don't want to keep marring and bringing down the day in depression and despair. The most shocking, I wouldn't even say shocking, but the most heartwarming result that I saw from those attacks was the absolute outpouring of support of my country and the world, and especially my city. I had never in my life seen New Yorkers stand up and be there for each other. And we are there for each other as a city, but on the scale that this happened with, we came together as a family, a literal world city, a citywide family. And growing up in New York City, you always kind of feel that the city is your family and that there is a heartbeat. There is a heartbeat to that city, and on that day that heartbeat stopped. Very temporarily. But I had never seen it be revived so vividly and so passionately. A couple of years after the 9/11 attacks, I married my now ex-husband, who was sent to Afghanistan shortly after we were married. And in between the time that we had gotten married and the time that he had left, I had gotten to know some of the guys very well. And the day that they left, I found myself feeling that same fear and uncertainty as the day the attacks happened. As the 16 months went on, we lost so many bright and beautiful and amazing young men and women, again, over this ideal. And it reminded me that the attacks just weren't that day. This is something that is ongoing. And I think Americans tend to forget sometimes that it wasn't just that day. The men and women that perished in 9/11 and the men and women that continue to serve and die overseas and are injured and come home different tend to be forgotten 14 years later. At least by some. Definitely not by me, because they are my friends now and they are my family, and they are the most beautiful people and the most strongest people I've ever met. During the course of that deployment is when I came to grips with my atheism. And surprisingly, stepping back from religion allowed me to view religion as a whole and realize that it is not the Islamic religion that I am angry with, but rather just a small group of radicals who were angry and who were there was obviously something mentally wrong with them to begin with, and all they needed was just a cause, and they found that. And this wasn't Islam as a whole. This was just a select number of people that decided to do these unspeakable and horrible things to their fellow human beings. I would hope that our listeners can maybe take a step back and realize that it's not religion as a whole. Sometimes it really is just some extremist. And while we might not agree with religion and we might not agree with God, we certainly cannot hate everyone who does. Because in the end, that will never change anything, and that will just keep us killing each other and fighting each other. And we will just keep losing beautiful, young, promising men and women. So on this broadcast, I am calling for understanding. And I am calling for discussions and options and peace. Because we do not need to keep burying our children over an ideal that no one can seem to interpret correctly. I would also like to dedicate tonight's podcast to the victims who perished in 9/11, and to not only the U.S. service members, but the service members around the world that have given their lives to the fight to the global war on terror, and to the fight to try to stand up to something that nobody seems to know how to extinguish. Again, thank you for listening to this thought. And if you could please, if anything, if you'd like to try to change this world, let's start by listening. I hope you all enjoy our podcast tonight. Thank you.
Please be advised that the following podcast does have an explicit tag. This means that you may be offended by what you are about to hear.
One, two, three into the four. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the...
Yeah, I'm already recording.
Fine. Fucking recording. Okay. And we're back celebrating the vacation we took after our little 10th anniversary celebration. I'd like to say we spent it...
Who took a fucking vacation?
Shh. The good people at home don't know this. Or at work or in their car or wherever they are. Yes, we'd like to say we were in Jamaica at the nude resort. What is it called? Hedonism or Hedonism 2.0 and shit. But no, sadly we just went back to our day-to-day lives.
Someplace where my tits weren't big enough.
Okay. I didn't think they had a breast size requirement, but
There's a breast size requirement for chicks, period. Okay.
we get it, Jen. You're a fucking size queen. Okay, so
That's why we like the hedonistic nudist places.
oh, it's so true. Who doesn't love nudism? Nudism?
Who doesn't?
Nudism. So that's a word.
Nudism.
So apparently now I have to confess to the viewers that I might be a little hopped up on viewers. Fuck, I am really on a roll. I might have to confess to everybody that I kind of have taken a lot of cold medication and I've washed it down with a little bit of Jack Daniels. So
I have 911 on standby.
if I'm a little loopy, that's why. And fuck you if you don't like it. So before we get started on everything tonight, we are going to do a little bit of housekeeping. We have a message from one of our fans, Chuck Jones. I asked him permission to use his name when I read this.
Chuck!
Oh, he's hilarious. Ever since
Chuck.
we went live, he's kind of been in touch with us, which has been fantastic.
I love Chuck.
Anyway, so I meant to do this last week, but we were all really excited because we had guests, and we were like, oh my god, it was just kind of...
Because somebody actually likes us, yay!
Anyway, so he was listening to episode 9, and he was in the midst of listening when he went out for an errand for food, so he had it playing in his car. And he ended up parking next to somebody from Quebec with a kid. And at just the moment when Jen was discussing the pull-out method, he had to hurry up and turn the volume down because the windows were down and he had the volume at full blast, and that's really the best way to listen to these two motherfuckers.
Oh no.
So, who needs a Discovery Channel when you can just listen to Jen discuss whatever she wants when it comes to sex?
And you don't even have to pay a cable subscription for it, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I know. Oh, the best thing that ever happened to me was I was 16. I was in a Walmart with some friends. It was like 9:30-ish on a Saturday night. And you remember like 9 years ago how Discovery Channel used to play like the Sex Files and they'd have their softcore porn scenes?
Loved those,
so,
yes.
I'm standing there holding a karaoke machine while my two friends are looking through karaoke CDs. Well, one's looking for karaoke, the other one's looking for some decent Iron Maiden. Good choice. And I'm...
Do they even sell it? Wait, did you say you're at Walmart?
It was in the middle of...
Do they even sell Iron Maiden at Walmart? With the whole
Yeah, not much, but a little bit.
reading thing?
Keep in mind, this is
Okay. I
Canada.
was
We're
just
not
wondering.
apparently as hyper
Yeah,
religious.
something I was curious about.
Anyways, and I'm
Sorry.
standing there holding the karaoke machine, looking around, and I look at the TVs because they have the TVs, and somebody had changed it to the Sex Files because all I could see was this chick just going to town riding this guy, and her tits are bouncing up and down, and I'm sitting there, and I'm going, I'm 16, and I'm pretty well done now, but I'm standing at Walmart, and I'm amazed with how cool I kept it. Like instead of just beating off right in the middle of Walmart like that, getting banned from a podunk
See,
Walmart.
with my age, it was the actual encyclopedias and
Yeah, but National
yes.
Geographic, the special native editions. I remember looking at one of those when I was like 8 years old. But so, anyways, back to Walmart here, and so we're standing there, and I nudge my friends and I go, guys, something's wrong with the TVs, and they burst out laughing because they have no poker face.
What, like you told like a worker or your
I
friend?
told my friends, and then we're standing at the check stand
Okay,
going
good.
through, and I'm sitting there and I look at the worker and I say, who's in charge of your TVs? And she goes, I'm not totally sure at the moment. Why? And I go, oh, no reason. As I look over the TV, she looks over and she sees some chick getting railed doggy style, and she goes, oh my god! And she freaks right out and calls the manager immediately. So that's my exciting Walmart story.
What a fucking party pooping bitch.
Oh, it's fucking hilarious. What the fuck?
Ugh. I'd have been like, fuck it, let it rock, man.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't.
Crack cats out of
Yeah,
it.
she's scratching at a door. I don't know what her issue is. Oh, right, yes, moving on. We have again something that I meant to do last episode but didn't because I suffered from premature interviewee something Asian. I don't know. I was really excited to have Chris and David on because they're fantastic guys. So we're
You were just happy that somebody wants to talk to us
shut up, okay?
for an extended period
Shut
of time.
My mommy loves me.
She probably told you you're handsome too.
Who told you that? Okay.
Your mom,
Oh.
bitch. Got him. No.
Wait, are we seriously doing your mom jokes again?
You better stop before I start with the D's nuts.
Oh, for
dude.
fuck's sake. Okay, so statistics. So, we're going to celebrate the first 10 episodes. The main aggregator I've been using outside of our WordPress site is Podbean, and that'll keep track of some of our statistics. And according to them, after 10 episodes, checked 6 hours ago, we have...
Are you really doing this on the podcast right now, dude? Nobody cares how many.
No, just... Anyways, so we've got a shit ton of listens, and a lot of them are coming from the States. But we've got like listeners across the pond, some in Europe, and some from down in Aussie land. So we've...
Hey, I like European and Australian guys, so hi.
So we've got hits coming in from the UK, Spain, Sweden, even Germany. But my favorite is the fact...
Ooh, hot guys everywhere.
My favorite, though, is that we have 3 who come in from an unknown location. So this is like 3 hits from a nation like we haven't discovered yet, or the Illuminati checking in to make sure we're keeping the New World Order going.
Or one of my psycho
Or
exes.
what if it's the fucking mothership?
Are they looking for me again?
Cue X-Files theme song.
Are they looking for me again?
It could be. But anyways, so we just want to put this out to you guys, to you, the listeners. Wherever you're listening from, please give us a shout. We'd love to hear from you. Our main
Seriously.
email is nehehp@gmail.com. I'm on Twitter. My handle is @anatheist_NYYC, all one word. Or just search hashtag Not Another Atheist Podcast. Jen, what's your Twitter?
I think it's insomnia_mama, MAMA. I think. Yeah, I think that's it.
So there we go. And
If you tweet me, I'm like rarely on it, but if you tweet me, I do get notifications, so I will respond.
having hot flashes over here with the cold meds and liquor.
Oh, he's like a menopausal woman.
You go straight to hell. Okay.
I will in about 10 years when I go through it myself. Maybe 20. No, I think I'm at 20 years until I can find
I
out
hope we're doing
how
this
to leave.
podcast, and I really do. Just to hear, because
What?
your
Just to hear me go through menopause?
your rants
Dear
now are
God.
pretty choice. I can only imagine what you, in the first throes of like a just complete and total hormonal shift, would be like. I think we would experience like 8 emotions in a minute and a half.
But none of them will be crying.
Well, no,
Like
I mean,
that.
local children might get stabbed, things like that.
Not the kids, maybe their parents. I mean, I'm not going to stab the kids. It wasn't their
No,
fault.
but sometimes you gotta send a message home.
Yeah, but not the kids, dude.
So we have standards.
Maybe the puppy.
Oh, not a puppy. What the fuck is
Put
this
a fucking
cat
possum.
doing? Seriously, my cat has like ingested a line of cocaine. Okay, anyways, we have news. Okay, so starting off, we're going to have a happy story about a pastor at the Passion for Truth Church sentenced to prison. Fuck, I am not Englishing good tonight. Sentenced to prison for swindling the elderly.
You're not humaning good tonight.
I'm not doing humanity good tonight. So this is a Missouri pastor at the Passion for Truth ministry. Son of a bitch, she got the door open. That's damn impressive. Oh.
You know, we should probably just like do a YouTube channel of just the adventures of your cat.
I'm tempted. Oh wait, I was talking about Missouri pastor. Oh yeah, this bastard.
Yes.
So he's off to catch a case for fraud against elderly investors, according to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Jim Staley is his name, and he's sentenced to 7 years in order to repay the elderly investors a grand total of approximately $3.3 million. He has pled guilty to 4 counts of wire fraud and made $570,000 off of elderly investors because the Christian faith and values he espoused made them feel he could be trusted. Let's make special note that this guy is a special kind of rat bag, since some of these elderly people were suffering from dementia. Nothing says moral human like that. He's apologized, but it's been called out as fake and insincere by family of the victims. I guess he has gone so far as to blame the economy during his sermons, and he's refused to accept personal responsibility by simply saying he was in the wrong...
Shocker.
But this is what I'm still trying to wrap my brain around, is he says he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
You mean when you were transferring the money instead and getting it?
That's like Kobe Bryant saying that white bitch fell on his dick. Like, that just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. I was in the wrong place and yet somehow managed to sell people thousands of things. Or steal money.
And my fingers totally put the numbers in for the wire.
Yeah, exactly.
Wrong place, wrong time.
So while a sales agent for B&B Equity Group, he misled investors towards believing that Warren Buffett actually had invested with them as well, and then convinced them to cash out early on...
Right.
Yeah, tell me about it. He then convinced them to cash out early on investments, knowing full well that they'd end up losing money. I'm not sure what the point of that was, if he made money off of that or not, but whatever. So he didn't even stop after there was a cease and desist order issued against him by the state of California, and then he didn't even mention that order to his clients. Last note here, he left a controversial church ministry called the Christian Roots Movement because of money issues. It seems that he's always having money issues, never owning up to them, and always blaming others. So, I have it.
That sounds pretty fucking godly.
I have a special middle finger salute to this asshole for trying to swindle the elderly, and I do take issues like this a little more personally. My backstory is, my grandmother took me in a few years ago. I was having major money issues while I was living out with some friends. I just couldn't afford it, and she's basically kind of let me... Okay, it's hunting time. My grandmother has given me the chance to get back up on my feet financially, and in return, really all she's asked... Excuse me for a second here. I'm just dealing with a cold. And
Pussy.
It's not a man cold, it's just a cold.
I had a cold last fucking
Cry me a fucking
episode.
river.
You didn't hear me. My poor fucking cold. And I wasn't even on meds, so fuck
Yeah,
you.
well, I'm on meds and it's fun. So I live with my grandmother. She's let me get back up on my feet and been really great to me, asking only that I, help out around the house, cook once in a while, and just kind of clean up after myself. The latter is probably my greatest struggle to this day. But there have been a few times where she's been contacted or she's had me come read emails or accept phone calls on her behalf because she's sitting there going, I don't know if this is a scam or not. And I actually ripped one guy a new asshole one day because
You're so sweet.
I have no patience for
That's
con
why I
artists,
love you.
especially when they try to con the elderly. Like, this is somebody who grew up in a totally different generation. For her, they tried to trust their neighbors. Like, she still had...
Right, and there wasn't this whole, electronic type of, shit. I mean, sorry, my phone's dying.
Who's got the fucking distractions now?
Go fuck yourself. I'm still talking, ass banger. Anyway.
That's bang. That's new.
Anyway. they didn't grow up in this time of, like wire fraud and internet fraud and fucking 409 email scams and Nigerian prince shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is like totally foreign to them, and I hate the fact that people prey on that.
Oh, it pisses me right the fuck off. I mean, they're very vulnerable, and because they have no idea, and especially since, as I said, some of them are suffering dementia, so their mental faculties are already heavily compromised.
Oh my god, you're so funny with your little tissue.
At least I'm not like one of my ex-girlfriends who would have like 8 tissues stuffed in her sleeve. It was weird.
That's so disgusting.
It grosses me right out when people pull up like right the fuck out of their sleeve.
If you're carrying around actual snot, I can't because I'll puke.
Relax, it's off the screen.
Yeah.
The listeners can't see it, and you can't see it, and you call.
Yeah, but like, if I hear somebody puking, I'm fucking going. Like,
if I start retching, I'll be sure to pull the microphone off. Okay.
Please do, because I can't deal with it. Let's learn about Jenn time.
So, where were we with this thing? There's stuff. God, I apologize to anybody who doesn't like a ramble cast and likes things to stay on topic, because that is not what's going to happen tonight.
No, I don't see that happening tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
So we were talking about old people being vulnerable to wire scams because it's technology that they just don't understand. I mean, hell, my grandmother took a picture with my aunt's tablet, and she didn't understand that the fact that the camera, or she could see her picture on the thing, she didn't realize that was her taking a selfie. She was like, oh, I just thought the camera was, showing me myself. And we're all sitting there going, how does that make sense?
Oh, she's so cute.
Oh, it's hilarious. It wasn't the most flattering selfie ever, but it was her first selfie, so we've made her keep it.
She's so cute. I love her grandma. I just love her.
Yeah, well,
Really
there's a reason her and your spirit animal, the Hitler cat, get along.
Oh my god. I need that cat.
Yeah.
I wish that cat could have babies.
She had a litter before we got her.
She needs another one, because
she's fixed now.
Ah!
Okay, so it seems we've gone off the beaten path. We're gonna move on.
This is seriously an entire night inside Jenn's head.
Yeah, that's where the drugs took me.
The drugs took you to my brain, and I'm sober.
What does that say about Jenn?
I know. Sad.
Story number 2 tonight. 200 students walk out over trans classmate using girls' locker room. Lily Perry came out as trans last year and was asked by the school to use a unisex changing facility, and this is just the tip of the bullshit asshole iceberg. This year she's returned and basically said she would rather use the women's washroom because the gender she identifies as is female, and she's lived as one since she was about 13. During this walkout, they had locked her in the principal's office to protect her from the students who had walked out in protest of her identifying as female and wanting to use the women's washroom, change room, etc. There was a school board meeting, and apparently it was claimed that she's getting special treatment over this because, asking the populace to accept someone who is different for who they are is too much. That really requires a lot of special treatment.
Yeah. Holy shit.
I know. I'm just. I feel.
Fucking world's gonna stop spinning. Holy shit! The axis is tilted.
The school's Gay Straight Alliance also walked out to show that not all students who opposed her desires to use the women's change room. And I guess the superintendent of the school district did offer a written statement, but it's your basic, we respect the rights of the students, blah blah blah, appreciate the fact that students are willing to stand on their belief system and support their causes through expression of freedom of speech. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. We accept students no matter their race, age, ethnicity, gender, or sexual orientation, yada yada yada. I'm a fucking hypocrite. Promote tolerance and do not tolerate bullying / harassment, more stupidity, bullshit, pandering. So I did paraphrase what they had written down in the article in case that's not obvious. I don't know any, superintendent.
Could you imagine
if
somebody
blah, blah,
actually
blah.
made a speech like that?
Sorry?
Blah 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 tolerance. Could you imagine if somebody actually came out and made a speech like that? Blah 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 tolerance. Blah blah blah.
Haven't you ever
bullshit.
seen the TV?
I would have so much. I would have so much respect for somebody if they actually just came out. And said
this
that.
is an aside, but I am waiting for the day Trump does that because he is just like every other misanthropic politician you see on TV.
I haven't heard his name all day today. Not fucking once.
Sorry, I ruined that for you.
You ass. You motherfucker. Here's more fucking Advil, coffee, and anger for me to fucking feed on today.
Good. I can't wait. So what really upset me about that, what was reportedly said in the statement, it's just this endorsement of students exercising free speech and the supposed intolerance of bullying and harassment. It's a complete contradiction, because he's saying, they have a right to walk out because, they refuse to grant somebody else their own humanity.
No, you know what? And I will give them that. They have the right to walk out. They do.
But then they talk about the bullying/harassment bullshit, because all they're saying is that, this individual has gone through a severe internal struggle, and that somehow negates the fact that this is a human being who was born.
But how much can we really blame the kids at this point?
See, I'm struggling with that, because kids don't really have the capacity to know better. They imprint a lot from their elders. So part of me is sitting here wondering how much of this was churned by the teachers. So
I don't know about the teachers, but I'm thinking maybe not so much from the teachers, because the teachers can get into a lot of shit for acting.
Or the parents at home.
The parents at home, when they come home and they talk about...
Yeah. So...
the transgender girl, and the parents are, that's fucked up and that's wrong, and God.
It's parents espousing or imposing their opinions instead of listening.
Right. So I'm, this comes from not a douchebag kid perspective. The kids are acting like douchebags because they're learning douchebag behavior at home.
Fair enough, but all in all, this is just a collective intolerance and people refusing to understand that somebody might be different.
And I can't stand that. It's like, I went to a high school that was very different than that. We didn't have cliques. We didn't have cliques at all. And everyone, it was really fucking trippy. And everyone, just really got along with each other. There was, you had the popular kids, quote unquote. You had the kids that weren't so popular. But it wasn't the hierarchy. We didn't have a hierarchy in my high school. And I'm just like, well, if we could fucking do it, why can't you? How it's usually the football players are super popular? That so did not happen in my high school.
Really?
So this is I remember the fucking varsity players. Chris James, he was the coolest motherfucker. I had the biggest, actually I think I dated him for a little bit in high school, but anyway, he wasn't this Adonis god jock. He was just a really cool kid that played football, and we didn't have this hierarchy. And the first time I was exposed to anybody that was actually gay, out and gay and a lesbian and gay, was high school. And we all felt safe enough not to hide it. They never hid it. So there was none of this, walkout shit. We had our fucking Christians, but they pretty much kept their fucking mouth shut. Either that or I just didn't pay attention to them. So this is really fucking weird to me. And I'm I think we had close to 3,500 kids in my school.
Shit.
Yeah, in my high school, this is, it's an insane amount of people. And if 3,500 fucking people can turn around and be we don't fucking care. Our principal was gay. And this was, fuck, now I'm going to show my age. Fuck, I need my calculator because it's too late for me to math.
Well, that was rude.
This was, what?
No, me, because I snorted right into the microphone.
I was sniffing like a cokehead the last time.
I know, it was hilarious.
I started high school at 14. This was 19 years ago. Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I started high school at 14. So this was nearly 20 years ago. My principal was an out gay man.
Huh.
One of my best friends, who's still one of my fucking homegirls to this day, was an out fucking lesbian. And nobody made it a fucking issue. So I don't get this shit. Nora was cool as fuck. She always had the best weed, too.
Yes!
Nora always had the best weed, man.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't fucking understand it. And I'm sure that they had parents at home that were damn the gays and Jesus and we're going to hell and everything else. But
given the right circumstances, kids do have the ability to counter, the opinions of those around them. There are some kids who are prone to doing shit like that because they're fuck the system. I don't care what you think. In fact,
I think I seriously went to a high school full of fuck the system kids. I think they found all the 3,500 fuck the system kids in New York City and sent them to my high school.
Could been.
I really think that's what happened. But it's, people condition these kids from birth. You got to be popular. You got to play sports. You got to do this. You got to do that. So there's this drone mentality is what I call it. This fucking robot mentality. And it's like, oh my god, different. She can't be popular. She can't be pretty. We can't like her because she's different. And, oh my god, that was actually my one battle. All through school, my titties just weren't big enough. But anyway.
Yeah, but at least your personality was fantastic. And your ass could move like
No,
nobody's business.
Yeah, it's true. But it's... what did I see the other day? You were born to be an original, so don't die a clone.
Ooh, deep.
Why the fuck are we making our kids clones, man? Why? My kid's fucking weird, dude. Like, my kid's odd. He's a little fucking strange, and frankly, it fucking frightens me. But I kind of just, like, let it go. You know, I kind of let it go, and I feel bad if he's, like, you know, a little weird, and the kids pick on him, which is why I'm teaching him to kick the shit out of people.
That's always a solid parenting style right there. This motherfucker's messing with you, just kick him right in the teeth. He's gonna go bankrupt trying to pay off his dentist bills. You're fine.
Don't worry about it. Because when he has no teeth and he can't talk to people, you'll be a fucking CEO. So don't worry. No worries. I don't
Drop
get
the mic
it.
on that motherfucker.
I can't wrap my brain around that kind of intolerance.
No, neither can I. It's... Yeah, no, that's pretty well
And
it.
I mean, when do we draw a line between blaming the kids and, you know, beating the crap out of the fucking parents? I'm sorry, like, I don't think I could physically restrain myself from fucking punching a bitch in the mouth if I heard her tell her kid that somebody that was gay was wrong, or somebody that was transgender was wrong. I don't think I could physically stop myself from not throwing a fucking brick at somebody's face.
Yeah.
I just don't think I could.
No, it's a level of hate and intolerance, and it exposes a great deal of ignorance on one person's behalf, and it shows that they seem to have a lack of consideration for contrary ways of being, opposing points of view. And it's sad.
I say we just start throwing bricks at people's faces. Look at the fucking
Slap
point.
somebody in the face with a chair.
With a brick. No, I want a fucking
Can
brick.
it be a chair made of
I want
bricks?
an
Or a brick made of chairs?
Can we do... Ooh.
Shit.
That's too much for me to handle right now. I'm on 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah, imagine where I'm at. Okay.
My brain is just like, no.
So let's just quickly wrap it. Fuck, I am English and good.
Yeah.
Let's quickly wrap this story up before we carry on to our final news story, and then our...
Your hair looks nice
Oh,
tonight, by
thank
the way.
you. I love you, Jen. You're so adorable.
I just had to put that in there.
Okay, so Lily told a news outlet she wasn't trying to hurt anybody, and she didn't want to feel, but she also didn't want to feel segregated out. Valid.
Valid.
She also expressed the sentiment that she didn't want to be put in the gender-neutral bathroom because she identifies as a girl.
That's being singled out. And that's being fucking singled out. That's like that fucking kid that we were talking about, that they put him on the fucking table because he was an atheist.
Yes.
By himself.
Yes, that poor little kid.
What are they... Oh, no, we're accommodating. No, you're singling her out.
Yeah. So...
She's not unisex. She's a fucking woman.
Exactly. She is a full-on woman. That's
She's
it.
a fucking woman. She's not a
So when this whole thing came about, the issue of trans people using washrooms, I've been bothered by everybody getting bent out of shape over, let's just use this as an example, a man transitioning into a woman who identifies as a woman, somehow being the antichrist for wanting to use the women's bathroom. So I actually coined the hashtag on a friend of mine's status, just let people pee. Hashtag just let people pee. That's it.
I love that.
And that's all. That's all this fucking is. Like, we are humans. We have waste that we gotta get rid of. Let them fucking do it with goddamn dignity. We
seriously
provide.
I'm worried about, a man in a dress behind my daughter in a bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about Josh Duggar coming to visit my fucking house, okay?
Touche. But let's go this episode without going back to that family. So one of the main arguments that I keep seeing time and time again from fucking idiotic GOPers and just all around ignorant bigots is that, somehow it's just, a guy who wants to watch other women use the washroom. And I have two things to say to this. First, if you want to watch someone use a toilet, we have the fucking internet. It's the 21st century. If you want to watch a woman go piss all over herself, Google that shit, turn the safe search off. I guarantee images will find enough spank bank material for you.
Exactly. I mean, there's the internet. Fucking Pornhub gives you the shit for free, for fuck's sake.
Exactly. It does. So my second point here.
Phone's almost dead. Need my charger. Sorry.
Plan this shit out.
Fuck you.
Maybe later.
Well, no.
Oh. It's the drugs talking.
Hold on. Fuck you dick. No, it's like, oh, he's gonna fucking turn around and watch my little girl pee. No, what the fuck? They have the underground internet. They have the dark internet for that shit now.
So I said I have 2 points, and here's point number 2. If you think the only reason someone would want to use a washroom is to spy on people, then you're exposing a great deal of your own psychology, and it's quite obvious that you're somebody who likes to hit up the porn hubs for girl pisses all over guy pisses all over parrot.
Or bathroom cams.
Yeah, that's a special level of creepy.
Like I actually search for those. Like I look before I pay, and I'm like, I am.
What do you think of human beings? Like, are you that misanthropic?
I mean, blame it on fucking media, dude.
You blame Criminal Minds.
Blame fucking Criminal Minds.
Criminal Minds is the reason why my girlfriend and a couple of my other buddies, they all have like tape and some shit over the webcam on their laptops.
Oh, that's just stupid.
Yeah, they're like, oh, somebody was spying on them. I'm going, you realize statistically how unlikely it is that somebody's going to do that to you? I mean, yes, it's happened. Yes, it happens, but statistically, I wouldn't worry too much unless, you have a reason to suspect somebody's trying to hack your life.
Yeah, but I mean, bathroom cams are a valid fucking issue. I've actually, I look. I do. I look in, little cracks and shit. No, I haven't yet.
Interesting.
But I haven't. But they're getting really good at hiding them. Like, I start wondering about, wires and what's next door and shit like that.
So I have a little summary to this story.
Sorry.
There exist people who identify as a woman in spite of having been born with a penis. They have the right to use the women's washroom because guess what? They need to go to the fucking washroom. End of goddamn discussion. People need to eliminate waste. It's a fundamental human right. Let them do it in peace and dignity. Fuck you, motherfuckers.
I just don't see the fucking problem in it.
Neither do I.
I don't.
It's an attempt to control people.
I don't.
And just tell them who they are and who they can and cannot fucking be. And marginalizing somebody for being different and going against the grain. And not being like little Johnny who aspires to be star of the football team. Or little Susie who, she only aspires to be a good cook and have a lot of babies and have a farm.
And good for little fucking Susie and little fucking Johnny. If she wants to flat back a whole fucking
good for them for being who they want to be. But let's not try to force everybody into that mold because we don't all fit into that mold.
And it's I wish I can get a more elaborate response other than it's some thinly veiled Bible verse which translates to no, it's just icky.
I wish they would be honest enough to come out and say it's icky so we can look and be like, okay, you're an asshole, but we know you're an asshole and that's fine. At least you're honest.
Thank you for alerting us that you're an asshole.
Thank you.
I just don't fucking get it. How the fuck is it okay, so there's a dick there. Okay, whatever. But I'm sorry, most transgender women that I've seen actually take better care of their look than most natural born women, I guess I can call them.
There are some people who transition to be a woman who aren't born women who make better women.
Seriously, and it's like, one, are you fucking jealous? Are you fucking jealous, first off? And two, it's like, if you're so offended by a transgender woman, then why the fuck are you not offended when the chick that doesn't shave her legs and her pits comes walking in? That offends me more, because I'm like, this bitch ain't using deodorant. It's fucking 112 degrees outside. It's fucking summertime. And she all natural. That shit will fucking offend me more than a fucking trans woman in a goddamn...
Oh, I hope not. I hope not. I have no problems if a woman doesn't want to shave. That's her body. That's her right to.
Right, it's her right to.
All I ask is that if I have to smell you because we're in the same place, use deodorant. I can't really smell right now because my nose is so plugged up.
When you can tell those au naturel people, you see them coming and you like, fuck.
Oh, that's gross. I can't.
You know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I'm gonna move on now.
Because now you're thinking about gross stinky people.
Yeah, okay. So our final story tonight. In the quest to find out just who is the most crazy for their imaginary friend, the Westboro Baptist Church has turned on social pariah and raging bigot Kim Davis. This is my favorite
story all week.
Oh my god, this is fucking amazing. So Westboro Baptist Church has gone on a literally virtual tirade against Davis for the fact that she has been remarried, and all of that means she has committed adultery because divorce is illegitimate in the eyes of God. Holy fuck.
Gorgeous.
Divorce is not completely illegitimate in the eyes of God. It can be granted if the husband was unfaithful. If the husband...
But she was unfaithful.
Well, yeah, but...
She
saying.
wasn't
I'm
it
just
she
saying.
had baby
Okay.
the baby with her third husband
no,
while
no,
she
no,
was
no, no.
with her first husband?
Yeah, okay. While she was... How... Wait. Fuck. I think she was something like 5 months pregnant with her third husband's kids when she married her... No. Okay. Her twins, I think they were twins, or her kids, by her third husband, were born 5 months after her marriage to her second husband.
God damn, this bitch is just nuts.
And then I guess she divorced the second husband, married the third husband, and then divorced the third husband, who was the father of said kids, and married the fourth.
Jesus fucking Christ.
But
Like,
it's
literally,
the
Jesus
whole-
fucking Christ.
She gave birth to the third husband's children 5 months after she married the second husband. That shit cracks me up.
I'm gonna use this word. I am flabbergasted.
That shit. The first time
This is just
the first time I
amazing.
saw that, I had to stop a minute. I was like,
Yeah, no kidding. As soon as I heard she'd been married 4 times, I'm going, okay, that's a little hypocritical, but let's go on. And then I found out about the third husband kids with the second husband, and I'm sitting, or while she was with the first, or before she'd even finalized the divorce with the first husband, I'm going, are you fucking, you cannot rate this shit. Like, you won't even see this shit on
no,
daytime soap
the first
operas.
time I saw that, I was like,
I know, just the face is, there are no words. That's what the story does. It just causes me to like completely lose my ability to follow because it just is that fucking stupid. So I guess, Jen, this kind of all means that even the Westboro Baptist Church has
I'm
standards.
sorry.
God, that's so fucking funny.
You know you fucked up.
When you are in line with the Westboro Baptist Church and they hate
When
you.
the people that say God hates fags and they're killing soldiers because of gay people tell you you're
So-
fucked up for not issuing gay marriage licenses.
Did you see some of the signs that they had written up in
No.
her quote-unquote honor?
No.
This is my favorite one, and I'm going to try attaching this as the episode picture. It says, Kim Davis caused fag marriage. What does that even mean? What does that fucking mean? She's sitting there on a little podium going, no, I can't sign a little piece of paper that legally binds two loving human beings.
Is that due to her ways of having children and the adultery and the multiple marriages and all that shit, that her behavior made God angry to turn away from the United States, and therefore the gays can marry. I guess I don't.
I just, if anybody can, listeners, I implore you, please, if any of you have any idea how the hell 2 + 2 is equaling 23 here, let me know.
I have a serious
This
case
is just
of
so
the
out
giggle
of it.
fits about this story.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Jen is having she's having a major giggle fit because this is so fucked up. I mean, you won't even see this on Days of Our Lives.
But it's like when the Westboro Baptist Church tells you that you're fucked up. You fucked up.
Oh, when you're one of their allies and they hate you because they're going, well, you fucked up, then
You know though,
bitch, you are so
I
fucked
gotta
up.
say this though, I kind of got a little bit more respect for the Westboro Baptist Church in this.
I
kinda
kind of did.
Because they were like I always say, if you're gonna follow your Bible and you're gonna sit here and preach gays can't get married and all this other shit, then you follow your shit. You know what I mean? You sit there, you don't get divorced, you don't eat shellfish, you don't wear mixed fabrics, all that shit. And the Westboro
Yep.
Baptist Church did not cherry pick. And I'm like, that stunned me out for a minute. I was like, yo, they're kind of real deal. And I kind of have to respect that. I kind of really have to respect that they're like wholeheartedly with the Bible and shit. Like, I really have to respect that.
Don't mind me, my cat is making her podcasting debut. Say hello, boo. Say hello.
So.
Nope.
But it's like, you expect them to be like, no, she's doing God's fight. And then they turn around and they were like, nah, let's fucking stone her to death. I was like, yeah. was like, yo, oh,
That shit's
shit.
crazy.
I was
It's
like,
off the hook.
yo, what the fuck, man? Because I respected the fact that they're really kind of standing behind this. They really are standing behind their belief, and you, as fucked up as it is, man, you gotta fucking respect that shit.
To an extent, yeah.
I mean, you don't have to respect what, but you gotta respect the fact that they're fucking ride or die for that shit. And I'm like, and I'm sorry, have you seen this bitch? I've got a motherfucking question. How in the motherfuck does Kim Davis have all these motherfucking kids, get married all these times, and I'm still fucking single? Now, I ain't gonna sit here and say like I'm Heidi Klum or nothing like that. But this bitch look like Kim Kardashian's period panties. All right, I mean let's be real.
Whoa! That is a new level of what the fuck?
She be looking like Kim K's period panties, and I'm like Kim K's thongs. You know what I mean? You know, they're not completely attractive. One's prettier than the other. How the fuck is she getting married 4 motherfucking times? I can't find no.
Is it wrong of me to say that she's willing to do things that would make even your skin crawl? Because I know that there might be a few things that you're not willing to do, but you do have your boundaries.
I'll be very honest.
Do you think maybe that she's willing to do those things?
No, I don't. I don't. I think her standards are just a lot fucking lower.
That has to be. I can't imagine. I'm sitting here and I took one look at her and even my penis went, you know what? No. Just no.
Exactly. And I'm like, and I'm not getting laid? What the fuck is this?
However, simply for the fact that I'm an asshole, I will say that there are guys out there whose dicks I would use to fuck her, and then hand them back and be like, yeah, you're gonna want to dip this in penicillin for a year.
I have a couple of exes that I would do that with, absolutely.
Just, fuck them with somebody else's genitals just for the sake of being an asshole.
Like, and then it's kind of like I don't understand how she keeps finding men that'll fuck her, let alone marry her.
It's amazing what you can find when you go to church, I guess.
See, I won't be that desperate.
And Jen dropped the mic.
I won't be that desperate. But it's like, why can't she issue marriage licenses? Did she use them all? What? I mean, did they run out? I mean, Rowan County, the area in Kentucky that she's at isn't very populated, so I can't imagine that they need a lot of them on hand. So did she use them all? Is it mainly just a printing error? And she's like, no, I don't really hate gay people. We don't have any more because I signed the last one. I mean, what?
I have my name already on 20 of them.
I really do. I wish there was like CCTV the first night that she was in jail. Oh my god, I so want to see if her bunkmate was just like raging like stereotypical bull-dyke lesbian. I was talking like Big Boo from fucking Orange is the New Black. Like, hey, sweetie,
wow.
You're my 5th prison wife. Ha ha, I have one more than you now. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like, I really wonder. I really fucking wonder about it. I'm so curious about that. But I think the follow-up to that story was that she's now been released out of jail, sadly. And she can't interfere with them issuing licenses. But I don't see her not being able to do this. I don't see her not physically being able to do this.
Yeah. Well, I guess time will tell. We're recording this on September the
9th. I have 9th.
It's the 8th.
Well, it's the 9th.
Okay.
But
sometime on September the 8th/9th.
I'm
so
really
that should
like,
tell you around the minute.
I actually want to try to get a marriage license just to see if she'll do it.
Well, Jen, that's your special mission.
I'm not going further into the fucking south. I'm not going anywhere near that fucking part of Kentucky. No. I'm fucking done. But when I kind of want to shake the Westboro Baptist Church hand right now, just to be like, you know what? I don't fucking agree with you guys. But the fact that you stuck to your shit like that actually gave me some respect for them.
I suppose.
It really did.
Okay,
if you could all see how like stupid Keith is right now, it's hilarious. Sorry, I'm under an extreme amount of stress today, so I don't know.
I'm going between hot and cold because of these fucking meds. I get too warm and then I take
Is
layers
it bad
off.
that the fucking Katy Perry song just popped in my head?
Which one?
You're hot and you're cold. Yes.
Oh man, I feel it. I'm feeling it. I mean, that's my lady right there, but yeah, I'm feeling it.
Ew, I really see nothing attractive about her.
I can see two reasons.
I'd much rather fuck Ariana Grande. Cause she just looks like she would get down on some. Her and Selena Gomez look like she'd get down on some nasty shit.
Oh, I'd like to watch the two of them together. I would pay good money for that.
I have a whole Selena Gomez Taylor Swift fantasy.
Ew. Okay, we're gonna move on now.
Yes.
And now for something completely different.
So in our last episode, we kind of discussed the Ashley Madison hack, and Jen, you kind of went off on a tangent that we couldn't fully explore because we had time considerations to deal with. So you had issue with the fact that, you know, people were discussing the ethics behind it.
Fuck the ethics behind it. Man, fuck them. You know what? We can't fucking sit here and be like, we're humans and we're morally superior. No, we're fucking not. We're fucking not. We're not these super intelligent, morally superior, fucking godlike creatures. No, we're not fucking morally superior. We're still fucking animals. We still do spiteful shit. And you know what? You want to do spiteful shit come back. Shit.
Wow, I wish it was just that simple. I do have to press though.
It is that fucking simple. You're gonna fucking go and do spiteful shit, yet you're gonna be mad when spiteful shit is done back.
See, and I agree, you know, if you're willing to do something absolutely stupid, you have to be accepting that there are consequences.
Spiteful, why the fuck would you think another human being is not willing to be that spiteful? How fucking stupid are you? This is just a fucking lesson in pure out motherfucking stupidity. I still can't figure out how to open that fucking file.
So nobody emailed us, eh?
No! Fucking good are you, asshole.
This is call number 2 to our listeners. Help Jen.
Seriously. Like, I
have our contact information.
I need to check here. The fuck?
Jen needs to get some dirt on whoever.
So. One I cannot name for legal reasons.
Hooray for non-disclosures.
I think we can all figure out already who that is, though.
It's Dave.
Fuck Dave.
Fucking
you know
Dave.
what? Dave's probably on that motherfucking list too. And Dave's probably up there like, my life is over. Why would somebody do this to me? Because your number 2 fucking pencil made the back of her throat feel like a Scantron, Dave. Fuck you, Dave.
Okay. So back to ethical considerations for the Ashley Madison hack. I think we're both in agreement that if you do something that
stupid,
that akin to
scumbag
betrayal,
like,
stupid scumbag like, yes, okay, we'll agree with Jen.
douchebag fucking behavior, your fucking dick should be bit in the middle of a blowjob, you scumbag motherfucker.
Ow!
Assholes. May your next fucking hand job have her rings turned inside of her hand. Dick.
There is something seriously wrong with you, and I love it. That's fantastic. So we both agree, you know, if you're willing to betray somebody's trust like that, then, you know,
Don't be surprised when
it's
that
only
happens
fair
to
that unemotional, in terms of, like, say, like an emotional justice, that it comes back to you. I mean, you're willing to hurt somebody that loves you.
See, I believe in karma in this, not in that cosmic fucking sense. I think that every decision you make eventually does have a reaction, and it could be something as small as, you know, putting another fucking teaspoon of sugar in your coffee, or it could be something as major as looking to fuck someone else inside of your marriage. You know what? The what?
Chaos theory, like the butterfly effect.
Kind of, yeah. Everything you've done, every little decision you make has put you somehow on a path, and not because it's something cosmic or some other shit like that. It's just, it's a literal chain of events. So you can't fucking sit there when you created your own motherfucking chain of events, like my divorce. I can't sit there and put any other chain of events on anything besides my decisions.
And when you're willing to partake in such, you know, questionable activities, like, it only makes sense that inevitably something might happen where you have to face up to that.
You put your fucking information out there. You're the one that was trying to pull off scumbag behavior. You put your credit cards on there. You put your name, your fantasies, whatever the fuck. You took money away from your family to go cheat on your wife, or your husbands, or whatever.
So you could cheat on your wife as she carried your fourth child? Oh, sorry, we're not mentioning Duggars.
Yeah, we're not. No, this is Duggar Furry. But it's like, you can't be surprised that your actions led to your reveal. Your own actions led to your own reaction.
And that's very true. I think it's foolish for the people who, they're... Okay, let's clarify, because there are some people who are suffering for this.
And who gives a shit?
No, there are the people in the Arab nations where homosexuality is considered, it's punishable by death.
Okay,
and I think those people need to be put into consideration.
Right,
and I genuinely
I'm talking about,
send love to
I'm
those
not
people.
talking about, like, shit like that. I'm not talking about where, they had to go underground just to be who they're going to be. I'm talking about, you know what I mean? I'm talking about you were fully fucking able to practice whatever sexuality you felt. You were fully able to divorce your wife, your husband, whoever.
And you didn't. Instead, you opted to just cheat on them.
Instead, you opted to be a fucking scumbag. I'm not talking about the people that genuinely have to go underground just to be with somebody they love, or, because it's, like, illegal, or they're gonna die, or some, some shit like that. They're gonna get thrown off a fucking building, some shit like... No, I'm talking about, like, U.S., Europe, shit like that. If you gonna sit there and partake in scumbag activities, then don't be surprised when the scumbag activity comes back to you. I didn't think this would ever happen to me. You're a fucking asshole enough to go cheat on somebody you're fucking married to. What makes you think somebody's not gonna be an asshole enough to fucking hack your shit? I'm gonna go kill myself. Good, goodbye. Better
if
fucking
you're willing
off.
to do the crime, you better be willing to do the damn time.
Exactly. You're gonna go fucking kill yourself? Alright, fine. This way, nobody's gotta explain to your kids why mommy and daddy divorced. Daddy just died. Bye.
I mean, it's one of those fine print things that a lot of people tend to forget, is that actions have consequences.
Reactions.
If you are willing to do something knowing full well that it is an absolute betrayal of trust, then how can you sit there and claim surprise when somebody says, or when you're called out, when you're forced to face the fact that you're an asshole? We see this time and time again. I mean, people who don't want to have to admit they're assholes, even though they're the biggest fucking asshole on the block.
Exactly. No, it's like, I can't believe I got my ass kicked for being a bully. That's exactly what the fuck this is.
Touche.
It's like, you're gonna go be a bully, then you're gonna go cry and you get the shit kicked out of you. Fuck's wrong with you? Fuck is wrong with you? You're gonna be an untrustworthy scumbag motherfucker, yet you're gonna be mad when somebody violates your fucking trust? When the fucking website you were using to being a fucking scumbag violated your trust? Fuck you. Fuck you. Yo, I have no fucking patience for this.
Jen, feel free to carry on with any rants. I just really need to go pee right now.
I've
been drinking tea like a motherfucker.
Damn it, he's gonna leave me alone on a mic. This is bad. It's bullshit to me. It really is. I don't understand how people feel that they can be assholes and then they can turn around and be like, why is an asshole being an asshole to me? No, fuck you. Fuck you. It's like little Timmy that goes on a fucking playground and he's like, I'm gonna go bully everyone and I'm gonna pull hair and I'm gonna punch people. And when this little ass kid beats his ass, he goes and fucking cries, he hit me. Don't be a fucking bully, Timmy. Don't give fucking people a reason to come back and fuck you. You fucked people, don't give people a reason to come back and fuck you. You fucking people, then you get fucked as well. I don't believe that people were actually like, oh, I can't believe it was done to me. Why? You violated somebody else's trust. So why the fuck do you think that your trust can't be violated too? Keith is still peeing, ladies and gentlemen. I pee a lot faster than this. So this is something you never have to worry about with me. My God. I don't know if it's the cold nuts or what, but he's like rivers out there. Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, you can't expect somebody to do you the way that you did them. I don't understand this logic of I'm the only scumbag on the planet and everyone else is gonna work for me and be kind to me and be good to me because I'm the only fucking scumbag. And I'm obviously just trying to fill in time right here because Keith cannot stop peeing. His bladder must be the size of his ass. I mean, seriously, this is insane. This is fucking crazy. Like, I'm really wondering if I should call somebody at this point. I don't know. I mean, is this a guy thing? You know what? Listeners, please get back to me. Why is it that guys take 10, 20 fucking years to pee. Can you explain this to me? I don't get it. Women are very fast peers, yet guys take fucking ages to pee. Can viewers get back to me as to why it takes men so much longer to pee than women? Send it to my Twitter, send it to the email. Thank you.
I cannot wait to hear what you said when I do the edit on this. Like, I'm assuming now we're off topic, so I'm going to say this. Were you paying attention last episode when we were talking about like what sports David will play being a Sasquatch, and he went mute? I got to hear that conversation. I'm sitting there and I'm going, I don't remember him saying this. He didn't say that. Holy shit, this is when he went mute. Oh my fucking god. All right.
Now that we've touched on bodily functions more than once tonight. I think it was like 3 times. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we do that a lot. So I think now we've pretty well gone through our topic. Jen, I hope you said all you needed to say on it.
I did. I feel better.
Good. So at the beginning of the episode, I'm sure you noticed that Jen did a short little spiel. I asked her, being a New Yorker, if, since this episode would be released on September 11th, if she would be willing to give us a bit of a personal take on it, and I thank her for it. I listened to it before actually I hit record because she pre-recorded it.
I did, because
So-
I have way too much fun
And-
and it wouldn't have been anywhere near as serious as it was, and I felt that it should have been serious.
And in all honesty, actually listening to it, I came into this, we had to sit and talk for a few minutes because I'm sitting there and my skin was actually kind of tingling. It was very powerful
You're
and
gonna
very
make me
moving.
cry, and I swore that I was not going to cry on this episode. I swore I was not going to drop tears on this episode.
Yeah. And actually, it kind of made me sit and think and try to remember where I was when I first heard about it. And I know from a psychological standpoint, David would kill me or get very upset with me and do a Sasquatch thing at me if he heard me, say that I remembered perfectly, because I know that's not true.
I do.
However,
No,
However,
like
you
I
seem-
remember every fucking detail of that day.
I'm not surprised. Well, it's called a flashbulb memory, where it's something so powerful that you just latch onto it and it sticks with you.
It was 14 years ago.
I was 13 years old.
See, I think that has
No, not even.
See, I think that has a big thing to do with it too, is age. Because when you're 13, you're kind of like not, you get what's going on, but you really don't get it.
Yeah.
I was 19.
Well, I was. Yeah.
So
That
it's-
would have
Yeah,
had
there's
a whole different.
there's a different way of processing the thinking. about
I
it.
was 12, 13 years old. I was standing in my living room that day. I had just finished breakfast. Actually, I was
Yeah, because
preparing
you're
my
2
brothers
hours
and my
behind.
lunch.
3,
Exactly.
yeah,
Well, when did the first plane hit?
it's like 8:47 in the morning, I think.
Yeah, so it would have been 6:47. So it was, we're 2 hours behind New York. And we always watched one of the local TV stations, Morning News, and I heard my mom from the living room just go, "Oh my God, a plane just flew into a building." And of
It was
course,
8:45.
I went into the living room and I'm just standing there watching the replay of this plane fly straight into the building, and it didn't hit me until years later, until I had matured to the point where I could process that I, in that video, watched hundreds of lives vaporize instantly.
Thousands.
While they gradually throughout the day. I mean, just in that specific
Yeah.
second
Yeah.
of the plane hitting,
Yeah.
and then sitting there watching the live feed as the second plane hit, and going through that again, sitting there going, "Oh my God, this wasn't an accident." And then I got to school that day, and most people had known. Some people didn't, because not everyone watched the news before they went to school. And my social teacher, Mr. Cuban at the time, he had us go into the library and watch on the 60-inch television, the live news that was going on. I think it was CNN he had us watch. And I remember I was sad because, oh my God, people were dying and it was sad. But it took me a couple of years, and there was a memorial that I kind of watched. I think it was one of the ones where Giuliani was reading off names. When I this would have been about 5-6 years ago, watching and hearing names, and all of a sudden it it clicks as
It
to
became real.
exactly. It became not even real. It became a human experience. It went from that happened there to that happened to humans. That happened to people. You know, and you watch the videos of, you know, the chaos that went on and the firefighters running in, risking their lives. You know, I have family who, my great uncle was deputy fire chief. I think he was deputy fire chief. He was right below fire chief when he was a firefighter. And it just, you stop to think, you go, you know, that's the same career path that he followed, only he wasn't there, he was here. But he very well could have been any of those men. You know, running in, trying to save as many lives as possible, not fully comprehending what happened. And it just, you stop to think, and it just, the emotional kind of overtakes you. Yeah, it's all too easy as a human being to see something like that happen on TV and just go, oh wow, shit.
You know, and I tried to put myself in, I guess that, because I get really fucking pissed off and people tend to forget. But then I'm like, you know, it's really different when you watch
You were
it.
there.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't down in the city. I was supposed to be. But this was, you know, this was the days of AOL and chat rooms, and I had to go take care of something for my fucking financial aid that morning. I went to school in the city. And I stayed up to like 4 in the morning on the fucking chat room on AOL, and I was like, yeah, I'm so not fucking doing this tomorrow morning. I was like, seriously, canceled fucking breakfast with my friend down there. I was like, yeah, I can't. I'm still up. And I passed out on the couch. And it was, like all of a sudden, I heard my mother moving around. But I was like, fuck that, I'm sleeping. You know, it was fucking 8, it was like 8:30, 8:45 in the morning. Fuck that, I got like 4 hours of sleep. And nobody really knew what had happened when they hit the first tower. Like, nobody had figured it out at that point whatsoever. And I hear my mother going, oh my god, wake up, wake up. Fuck, man, why? And I look, you know, it was WPIX 11 News. I'll never forget that. It was WPIX 11 News that she had put on. And she's like, look what's happening. And I'm like, I couldn't even make out that it was like the towers or nothing. I was like, oh, okay, some crazy fuck lit his office building on fire. I thought like it was some like disgruntled fucking employee or some shit. She's like, no, it's the World Trade Center. So I was like, alright, fuck it, I'm getting up. Fuck it, I'm getting up. The way my apartment was set up was my dining room, my kitchen, and my mother's bedroom. Was it my mother's bedroom at that point? Yeah, it was my mother's bedroom. We'd swap bedrooms. Those windows faced Manhattan. And we had perfectly clear fucking shot of downtown Manhattan. It was beautiful. I almost wish I had gotten pictures of it now. So I'm like, alright, I go to get coffee. I'm like, not even knowing what the fuck's going on. I'm like, holy shit. Some fucking crazy fuck lost his job, fucking burned the goddamn office to the ground. And I'm making coffee. And I'm looking, and you know, you're kind of trying to figure it out. You're like, look, I can watch it happen. You know. And it was just a fireball that came out the second tower. And I screamed to the top of my lungs. And I was like, I was like, Ma. She's like, what? I'm like, fucking second building's on fire. And she's like, what? And you would have heard them screaming on the news, and you know, we weren't aware. There was planes that were flying over, but we weren't aware that it was that plane that flew over that hit. I was completely not aware that it was the plane that flew over my house that hit, because I'm half asleep. And that's when we fucking realized it, that these are our lives. So we didn't know where else they were gonna hit. You were sitting in a fucking city of 8 million people that's now under attack. And I still remember that I was like, I gotta have my coffee. Because because I like physically couldn't make sense of what was going on because I needed to have like fucking coffee. This is the kind of shit you think about, but it you know, it took you a minute to get it wrapped around your head that they're attacking where I'm living. This is my home, and I don't know how safe I am in it. And I think that was the once we all started figuring out this wasn't some accident. We didn't know what the fuck was coming next. We didn't know if they had planted some kind of airborne shit in the plane that could have dispensed out to the city. We didn't know if there were more attacks coming. And this was a fucking Tuesday morning. These people are at work. We didn't know if they were gonna come shit into the subway. We didn't know. A city of 8 million people couldn't figure out if they were gonna live or die that day. 8 million people, because we just... It's surreal. And what does my mother do? Funny story about it. The towers start falling. And you can smell the sulfur in the air. She looks at me and she's like, "You want to go get bagels?" And I'm like, "Ma! Yo, we're like under attack here. They could fucking like nuke everybody." And she's like, "No, can you go get me bagels?" So she sends me out in the middle of a fucking terror attack to go buy fucking bagels. This woman, because she wants bagels. But I remember being afraid of getting in the elevator because I was like, what if they hit something and it goes out? We didn't know. We honestly did not know what else was coming. And then we saw DC got hit. What the fuck? So, in a sense, DC and New York kind of felt the same way in that aspect. And I felt for it more for DC because DC is so much smaller. It's so much easier to coordinate some kind of an airborne attack or some kind of bombing attack on that city, because over New York, because we had the boroughs spread out and everything else. But I just remember the waiting of what else. You're looking at everything that you've ever known in your life is going to be gone. And then my favorite place in this whole world is downtown Manhattan. Like, you will never catch me above 14th Street. Unless I absolutely have to be. And it looked like a fucking war zone. It like...
Pictures don't do it justice.
No. It's like you went 34th and 20th and it looked normal. And you just crossed this threshold and it looked like something out of a movie. It was fucking twisted beams and just ash. And it was so quiet. That's what got to me, was that it was so quiet. That you were just waiting for something else to happen. And the smell was... I can't describe it, but it's something I'll never forget. Burning human bodies is not a pleasant smell. At all. And then you get low tide on the water and the sulfur that was in the air from the burning and the diesel fuel, and it's a smell that I can't describe, and I'll never forget it. But it was the quietness afterwards that got me. You honestly felt like everything was dead. It felt like everything in Lower Manhattan had died. And you and the people that were around you were the only ones living. And that fear went on for months. Any little explosion. We have an issue with manhole coverings in New York and fucking transformers. They tend to just blow up in the street. It's really I shouldn't laugh, but it's kind of funny. But any little... Anything, something had crossed over in the airspace. And then about a month later, we had a plane that had crashed coming out of JFK out in Broad Channel, and we were terrified that it was happening again. And you know, that's worn off after time, but even still, like, I see low flying airplanes and I freak out. I freak out. And I can't imagine the sound of when it was happening being down there. That explosion, the falling glass, the bodies hitting the floor, that was fucking horrendous. That is the absolute worst that I've ever seen humanity. Was that moment. And these people knew they were gonna die. It was just a matter of which one was less painful. I've never in my life witnessed, like, physically myself. I mean, I've seen it, like, on the media and shit. I mean, look at the fucking refugee crisis that's going on out there right now. But physically, with my own eyes, I've never seen humanity at such a fucking low point. And you know, the city came together, but we had these pockets of Arabic people getting attacked, and like, fuck does that sound?
Doesn't solve anything.
What the fuck? Why are you going after these people? You know, and then you got these fucking conspiracy theorists. You never saw it pass the television. You know, this can't happen, that can't happen. Yet you come up to somebody that's actually seen the after effect, the bodies and the metal and the beams, and no, that happened exactly how they fucking said it did. Like, I can't deal with those people. Can't. There's everybody's got to make their own spin on it to make, you know, get their 15 minutes. And then now you got these kids, these babies, man. They sign up at 18 and they go, and they don't come back. Still, 14 fucking years later. 14 fucking years later, we still got kids dying for this shit. And I think that's what blows my mind the most about it, is that, you know, everyone thinks 9/11 and that's what it was, and it was that day, and it's like, no, it still happens. Every fucking, I mean, we haven't had a death in Afghanistan in a while, but I think it was like a month ago. No,
Are you guys still in Afghanistan?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think Canadians pulled out.
Yeah, we are. And you got these kids that were like, this happened 14, they were 4 when this happened. They were 4 years old when this happened, that are fucking putting on uniforms and dying for this shit. That's a scope that a lot of people don't realize, is that these kids were 4 years old when this happened. And now they're going to die in that country for this shit. What the fuck are we? We are literally killing the next generation of fucking kids after this. The kids that are now going may very well be the sons and the daughters of the people who died that day. It's now generational. This is now a generational war. And I've buried the kids that have died there. Kids that are looking at me like they were in fucking 4th grade. I have a fucking concept of what had happened. Yet they're strapping on gear and they're grabbing their guns and they're dying for what? Literally, this is now a generational war. If an 18-year-old signs up and leaves for Afghanistan, that child was 4 when it happened. That could have been my kid. If I had a kid that old, granted. But this is now generational. We are now fighting a generational war with no fucking end in sight. For what? Because a fucking group of people decided to fuck some shit. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't I'm not saying that we shouldn't have been there. I'm not. We absolutely needed to be. We did not need to go into Iraq and start another fucking war and leave that fucking country behind. We did not need to make the fucking tactic blunders that we made in Afghanistan. We walked into that country fucking blind. They kicked the shit out of the Russians, for fuck's sake.
Partially because the Americans helped, to my understanding. But
You don't know the Korengal Valley.
fair enough.
That's where I lost the majority of my friends. For what? That's the question I'm asked. What the fuck did I bury them for now? Who the fuck are we burying these kids? We don't fucking know. These might be victims of 9/11's kids. And now they gotta lose 2 fucking generations in this shit. When does it end? I'm tired. I'm fucking tired of sending my fucking friends off to war to die. I'm tired. I'm tired of dealing with Al Qaeda. I'm fucking tired. I'm tired. And I'm sure there's women and children in Afghanistan that are tired of watching their brothers and their fathers die too. So why the fuck are we still sending them? What's the plan? We don't have a fucking plan. They killed 3,000 people. They had a plan. We've been fighting for 14 fucking years. What's the fucking plan? Now we're sending our now we're literally sending our kids to die. And I'm not saying that everyone that gets sent over to Afghanistan is going to die. I know plenty that have come home alive. I'm just tired. I'm tired of constantly having to bury the victims of these fucking people. Over and over and over again. So when did it stop? Now, fucking ISIS hates Al Qaeda. Like, this is like the Westboro Baptist Church fucking hating Kim Davis. Like, how the fuck did this shit happen? When does it stop?
Nice to see you can see the silver lining in that.
I got her. I would have fucking lost it fucking 10 years ago, dude. Fuck, man, it's been 10 years. Wow.
Hard to believe it's been 14 years. And part of the reason why I wanted to do this on this episode is because it does, provided I make sure that the editing is all done on time, it will release on September the 11th, and I think that it is an important date for all of us to remember.
I mean, next year's 15 years. When does somebody stand up and ask when is there a plan? What's the plan? When? The fuck do we start asking this shit?
It's true.
I'm tired of seeing these fucking kids get off a bus, staying, sitting home for 6 months. Get put back on a bus, get back on a plane. Babies. They were 4 years old when this shit happened. What the fuck does a 4-year-old... And I'm not saying that they don't feel it. I'm not saying that they don't feel personally attacked.
But they didn't go through the experience in real time.
They didn't.
They're experiencing the history.
And that's like
and the
literally...
reverberations.
You gotta look at it like... World War II. How would we feel if... a U.S. soldier's kid, U.S. soldier that was killed in Pearl Harbor, kid was 4, decides to go fight his father's war. That's what it is. Time's only fucking ticking. Next year, those 14-year-olds would have been 5. We got a whole new generation of 4-year-olds. How far more back do we gotta pull out 4-year-olds before it's literally the guys that died in Afghanistan? And you know what? They very well may be. We walked in 2001. We're sending children to fight their father's war. When does it stop? Say we lost, lost a guy in 2001 over there that had a 4-year-old. 4-year-old decided, my daddy was in it, he died over there in 2001. Now I'm gonna join. They send him right fucking back to that country. So his mother's gotta live it again. Again, the same war. This ain't even a different fucking war. It's the same one. Same fucking place. You are sending generations to die in a fucking one country. Generations at this point. When the fuck are we gonna stop killing our fucking kids? When? And it's not the fucking congressman's kids. It's not Trump's kids. Sarah Palin.
Trump has kids?
Yeah. Sarah Palin, I'll give it to her. Her son enlisted. She knew what it was like to send a kid over. It's not the richest kids, it's the poorest. The fuck are we gonna stop sending poor fucking kids to die for a rich man's fuck up? When? Leave it on that. I'm gonna leave it right on that thought. Because if not, I'm gonna start getting real fucking angry, and then I'm gonna get put on a watch list somewhere. So,
So now you expect me to try following that up with something. All right. Thanks.
sorry. Like I said, if I kept going, I'm gonna wind up on a fucking watch list somewhere. So let's not do that.
Oh, please don't mind
Probably
me.
already
No,
am.
I'm just bitching that yours had emotional power and mine's just
It's just because
a rant.
I have this unique perspective. I guess.
Well, you
to
have
it.
a perspective that a lot of people seem to forget exists.
Well, it's that it's the actual being there in my city and my home, and then having to kind of relive it over and over and over again. When I was married to my ex-husband, when he would go and the guys would go, and they're still going.
Yeah.
Now I have a very strange perspective on it.
You do, but you have one that people don't seem to realize exists.
I don't know, because it's all on TV. It's all fucking Call of Duty.
Fucking 12-year-old weekend warriors.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a little.
Before-
I'm gonna give you a little lesson here. We call the National Guard and Reserve weekend warriors. they train like 2 weeks and 2 weekends a month, and like 2 weeks out of the year or something like that. That's the only time we train. So when you said weekend warriors, I was like,
Before he turned into a raging asshole, an old buddy of mine, he's a sergeant in the army.
you're an asshole. Damn. Wow, that was.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat that he's a bit of a dick, but
And
he would
people
tell
are
me
used to me spewing out my personal life.
he actually went and he served overseas. He did a tour overseas, and I supported him. I was there the day he left. I did my best to just say, "We're behind you. We love you," and all that. It was difficult when he came back because I have a background in psychology, and all I did was say, if you need help, there are people available, and I can help you find them, but I can't ask you to put that on me because I know that's, you breaking your own codes and everything. Anyways, he's also a drill sergeant, so he would train up the new recruits, and one of our favorite conversation topics was, the new recruits and how they'd come in thinking they're all hot shit because they played Call of Duty and everything, and then they couldn't even do a fucking push-up.
Nowadays, to tell those kids, let me shoot you and you tell me where I'm supposed to respawn.
Yeah, a lot of kids don't seem to realize that,
This is actual life. Yeah.
in real life you only have one life.
But it's hard, and you have to realize that 6 months ago, these kids were raising their hands to ask to use the bathroom, and now you're asking them to write their own wills.
I don't think there's ever been a song that has been able to put it that deep.
So they were in high school asking for permission to pee, and within a year's time, they're filling out their own wills. Within a year's time from "Can I use the bathroom?" you're asking them to take somebody's life.
Well, that also kind of goes back to, and I will openly admit one of my favorite musicians is Alice Cooper. He wrote a song called 18, and this was one of the most powerful songs that I used in an adolescent psychology course that I took. Is, they, in such a short period of time, they go from us telling them that they're not adults to we're expecting them to be adults.
But
And
this is beyond an
creates such a
adult.
problem.
You're taking a, and I'm not saying that we need to up the recruiting age or nothing like that. It's just a perspective. You're taking a child that you at once told them that they weren't allowed to make adult decisions, and then you take them from that environment, and literally I know at least for the United States, it's 1% of the population is in the military. 1% of that 1% is infantry. So you're taking 1% of the 1%, and you are training them to hunt human beings.
Mhm.
And this isn't peacetime. This isn't like, we're going to train you when nothing happens. These kids are deploying fucking year out of boot, 6 months out of boot.
Yeah.
And yet they're coming home. I think Bernie Sanders said it best. If we can spend a few $1 trillion on war, we can spend a few billion taking care of them when they come
And
home.
it's not the war. Well, the war is, we gotta make sure we bring them back alive. But once we bring them back alive, we have to make sure that they stay
Caring for
alive.
them is a war cost.
Yep.
And I have seen beautiful men, and I say men because I'm used to dealing with infantry, which is a male-only MOS, male-only job in the military here. Beautiful, bright boys come back broken men. And I mean, life behind the eyes was gone. And it's, sometimes I've actually wondered, and I hate to say this because I love my boys. We've been through shit that people don't go through together. But sometimes I wonder if it would have been easier for them if they didn't come back. Because there's such little help here, and the stigma that's attached to getting help is so great that if they're labeled with PTSD, they can be booted out of the military, and then they have no job and no health insurance and families, and
Can they be actually for that?
yes, they
Jesus Christ. I know in Canada we discussed it as, it's one of the major issues that's forcing the military because there is such a strong, you can't talk about what happened mentality.
Well, that's that old school mentality with that, but here it's, if their PTSD is bad enough, they can be kicked out of the military. They're not allowed to own firearms.
Wow.
Employers want to know, they want to see your DD-214 as to why you were discharged from the military. And, there's a stigma on it, and people see PTSD and they don't want to hire that guy.
And that's a major failing on society.
And it's,
Not just the military, not just employers, on society as a whole.
and it's
Is failing to recognize that these are people who represented us and now they need us to represent them, and
we're not.
failing them. We are failing
I mean,
them.
you realize that there are more soldiers that have killed themselves than have died overseas at this point in the United States.
I had heard something along those lines, and that makes me sick to my stomach.
I've watched guys call the VA helpline, and we'll call you back in 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and never get a call back. Never. Not once.
That's a major failing.
And it falls on what I call like civilian caretakers. The friends, the family, to try to navigate and control what goes on for them and what goes on in their heads. And we can't, because even though we had gone through it with them,
You hadn't been there with them.
right? And it's, we understand what the loss feels like, but we can never see it with our own eyes.
Correct.
So I can't.
All you can do is listen.
Yeah.
And if they won't talk,
But if they won't talk, then you can't force it out of them, and it's terrifying to watch an episode happen. It's terrifying because you can almost see what happened that day almost play out in front of you, and you never want to see someone you care about. That's just kind of how you survive a deployment when you're home, is that you don't think about what is going on and what they're actually saying. You know it's not true, but like in your head you kind of just picture it's like MASH. And they kind of hang around the fob all day, and they kind of hang around the fob all day, and that's not what happens. It's not what happens, but it's what you do for you to get through. And when you do see an episode happen, you start to physically see exactly what they were doing and how they would have reacted to that kind of situation, and it's heartbreaking to think that anybody you ever cared about would have to live through that.
Yeah.
But you have to keep that in check because you have to try to pull them out of this situation. And these guys, their marriages fail and their relationships with their kids fail, and nobody's helping this. Nobody. And nobody's talking about it because it's not popular now. Everyone wants to talk about Kim Davis. How many fucking soldiers put an end to their lives while she was sitting in jail? But then we have sequestration and the funding just gets cut and just gets cut and just gets cut. Now we don't have enough to fund our own fucking military. We're getting rid of people. We're just fucking putting these kids out. And then they go to look for help and there is none. And you're now fucking up the next generation of kids because daddy's fucked up because he can't get, or mommy's fucked up and they can't get the help that they need. So these kids are growing up, and I'm not going to say destructive environments. I'm not, because
they don't grow up in the healthiest of environments.
I wouldn't even say that, because I know many combat veterans that are wonderful parents and caring and loving. But every time you go over there, I guess you kind of leave a piece of yourself there. And when you have guys that have been over 6, 7, 10, 12 times, they might still be wonderful parents and beautiful human beings, but they're never wholly who they were when they left. And there's no outlet to seem to try to get it back. My own best friend, I remember who he was before he left, and I know who he is now. And it's not the same person. He's still him, but it's not who he was. And I know that there's nothing in this world that's going to get it back. Like, ever. Doesn't mean I don't love him any less. I just, no. And I think a part of that goes with the families too, where, no, I didn't lose my husband, but I lost my friends. And a part of you kind of stays there with them. You shouldn't have to bury 20 people before you're 30.
No, holy shit.
Yeah,
no.
You shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to see your friends come home burned all over their bodies and missing limbs. And I mean, there was one point where I didn't hear from my husband for 2 months. Like, not a letter, not a phone call, nothing. But once a week we got an injured or casualty phone call. Like, they gotten that bad at that point. And it even not being there, a part of you dies with that. It really does. And it's hard because the only people you can go to about it, you don't want to push them about it. No, none of us talk about it. None of us do. On either side. We don't talk about it. So we just kind of sit and suffer. I wouldn't say suffer, but we just kind of sit in silence about it. And there's no help for these guys. If there is help, they had to fucking jump there to get it. But I want to encourage, if we do have any veterans listening, to please reach out. Continue to reach out. Even if it's to one of us. And I'm going to look up some organizations that will help you guys. We'll post the links to that. If you need the help, like I said, even if it's to one of us, email us. I don't get it like you guys get it, but I kind of get it. And if I
Over the
can't help you,
weekend,
then I'll find the resources too.
Over the weekend, I did an event called the Tough Mudder, and one of the major charities they purport to support is Wounded Warriors. Now,
Fuck the
I'm not
Wounded
entirely
Warrior
sure
Project. They can
if-
fucking kiss my ass. I don't fucking work with Wounded Warrior Project.
See, yeah, I've heard some pretty gnarly things about them.
No,
and
they're
it's
like all
made me
profit.
question what I do.
They're all fucking profit. They're disgusting.
Okay.
So fucking Wounded Warrior Project.
So, we're gonna find better charities to be supporting,
I'm gonna.
because I think both of us really feel strongly when it comes to service people who need help, but it's not offered and it's not available, or at least it's not as
And if you don't want to go to,
promoted on the grand scale.
if you don't want to go to a major organization, like I said, you can email us. I'm not gonna go rat you out. I won't. I'm not gonna make sure you don't lose your clearance or your fucking guns or anything like that. So.
No. If you need a friend,
No.
please don't hesitate.
And if you
Um,
have needs that are outside and even outside psychological, I can find a way to help you guys if you need it. Get in contact with us. Get in contact with the email, Twitter, whatever. We will help you
You
find the
have friends.
resources. You do have friends. They are out there.
Surprise, motherfucker!
So Jen, now you expect me to try following that kind of emotionally powerful trip with
Woo,
a
that
little
was
rant,
tough.
eh?
Wow, that was harsh. Wow, that was a lot for me. Okay.
It was, and I could tell it got
Rare look
tough.
inside Jen.
But.
That was.
So you're gonna take a few minutes, Jen. You're gonna collect yourself, and I guess it's my turn to hop on a soapbox. I'm not gonna make people cry as much, but hopefully I might make people think a little bit. So now we're gonna do another installment of Keith's final thought. I can't begin to tell you how annoying I find it when I hear how atheists are just as fervent as the religious. That somehow, the fact that I want to go to a debate with Matt Dillahunty makes me just as obsessed with religion as the fundamentalists. In case it isn't obvious by now, this stems from a conversation that I had with somebody that I do in fact consider family. But before I continue, I'm going to kill right away this idea that maybe I'm just taking something personal when it was just simply a statement. I'm not. The reason I do these little rants is not to vent in an open forum where those who I run into can't interrupt me or trip up my words, but because these thoughts relate to a bigger issue and are simply stepping stones to a greater insight and a chance for me to explore these issues. So now, back to your regularly programmed rant. In any case, this is one of those things that never fails to drive me up the wall. It's the idea that somehow, because you have an opinion on religion and find it worth backing up, you're obsessed with religion. You as an atheist are just as cuckoo for the Cocoa Puffs as good old P-Robes or the unrelated yet just as crazy but hairier Willie Robertson. All of this is just because you took the time to form an educated opinion on a thing. I wish I could just use that as a sniper-precise retort, but as anybody who has dealt with those outside the conversation knows, it is just never that simple. You see, doctors, students of various subjects, and teachers, and many other professions have conventions based on a common ground. Their fields of study, work, whatever. At a pediatric symposium, they will have guest speakers discussing new techniques and their advantages, or how current research may have refuted a long-standing practice and how they are to proceed in the future. For students, these conventions might be more like an adult-sized science fair, but it runs on the same principles. And simply because I mentioned them, teachers might attend a keynote speaker discussing the merits of a number 2 pencil and how best to yell at students for not having them. Now, going to an atheist meetup to see a keynote speaker or a debater like Matt Dillahunty it's simply a chance to invest yourself in a topic that fascinates you. Everyone has their interests, and I'm sure conventions to go to for their respective areas. Let's think about Comic-Con for a second now. The topic of religion just tends to be one branch of philosophy. Historicity, hell, anthropology, psychology, sociology can all have some dogs in the fight on the topic of religion. And all too often we see the religious ideas encroaching on science's turf, and that can easily be thrown into the fray because some people are interested in it as a topic. Now, some are interested in it because they make it part of their living, and others because it is worthwhile to their worldview. But I digress. When someone tells an atheist not to study religion so as to be able to battle bad ideas for their lack of merit, they are essentially saying that they don't see what the harm religion does. This would be a fantastic little piece of ignorance to live in if it weren't for the fact that religion is harmful. As we've discussed time and time again, religion intrudes on human dignity and makes what could be decent human beings into sick people who don't have healthy attitudes towards simple things such as sex, health, or human relationships because one gendered is valued as less than that of pig swill. If there wasn't a group of extremists trying to actively exterminate those who disagree with their tender religious sensibilities, then this discussion might seem like something you generally discuss over drinks with friends because why the fuck not? Especially at a university level. Inevitably, politics and human nature will come up during late nights with liquor, and religion is far too familiar with both topics. We keep seeing atheists butchered in various Arab nations, and Bangladesh has recorded yet another atheist blogger being hacked to death for nothing other than having a different worldview. Charlie Hebdo should have been little more than gasoline on the warning fire enough that this discussion is necessary. That secular humanists have a voice that needs to step up to the microphone and start screaming into it that blasphemy laws and punishments of are an infringement upon freedom and human rights. This freedom isn't just for the oppressed, but this freedom treats everyone like an adult and does not coddle them like a child. If adults cannot be mature enough to listen to an honest critique of their worldviews, then we expose a serious flaw in our social value system. That flaw is what ignoramuses like Ben Affleck exploit to garner favor when they say that it's racist to openly and honestly discuss Islam and its problems. That's the fucking problem. So no, dear friend of mine, I'm not obsessed with religion. But I do take issue enough with the damage it can cause to stand up and say that something is wrong and something needs to be done. To say that because you refuse to use logic and reason to come to your worldview does not mean I need to respect your opinions, but rather that you need to take your views out of the public eye and place human dignity before your piss-poor judgment and flawed sense of logic. And that's all I have to say about that.
Now's the time our sprockets when we dance. That's all the time we have. Until next time, auf Wiedersehen.
I think that was excellently said. I
Aww,
enjoyed that.
thank you. Well, I think that just about wraps it up. It's getting late. Jen probably needs to consider getting to bed, and I really need to pee again because
Damn it, I
drinking
gotta be a
3 pots
mom.
of
I'm
3
totally
pots
lying.
of tea in a night.
My kid's so fucking awesome.
Alright. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we wish you all a great day, evening, afternoon, night, whatever the
What the
fuck
fuck
time of
you're
day it
doing?
is.
Get your hands out of your
We
pants.
just-
We see you.
Keep your hands in there. We encourage masturbation, especially while listening to us. So everybody who's listening, stay frosty, bitches. Jen, say goodnight.
Yeah. Good night.
The Not Another Atheist podcast experience is run by Jen and Keith. If you wish to contact the hosts, please write to nehehp@gmail.com. They can also be found at facebook.com/NotAnotherAtheistPodcast or search Not Another Atheist Podcast on iTunes to subscribe and leave reviews. If you or anyone you know is a veteran or serviceman in need of help, please do not hesitate to check out OperationWeAreHere.com, thesoldiersproject.org, DAV.org, or OperationHomefront.net. All of the links to these websites will be provided on our website as well as our Facebook page. If you are struggling, please do not hesitate to reach out. There is someone out there who can and will help.
She be looking like Kim K's period panties.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Fuck you.
If I have to smell you because we're in the same place, use deodorant.
Fuck you. You dick. I'm picking up my panties and I'm going home. Okay.